Thank you so much for joining us, JJ. You're the CEO of Kosmo. It's the last mile delivery tech that creates routes and auto dispatch to drivers. It also allows customers to capture that proof of delivery and send updates then to customers. It's that connecting all those lost pieces in the last mile delivery process, and something that we are all experiencing, and things are moving very fast. I mean, last mile delivery is just expanding with technology. Things are getting faster, and customers are expecting deliveries quicker. So it's nice to have you in the studio with us. First of all, I have to say, I saw your LinkedIn post, and that's how I came across this, and I wanted to have this interview. You mentioned on LinkedIn that Amazon keeps on pushing that same day delivery, and competitors need to watch out because, if they want to survive, they need to see what they're doing and take notice. Do you think that this is an opportunity or a challenge for the industry?
Hi, Mia. First of all, thanks for having me. And maybe let me give you some context to answer this question.
Okay.
For me, I see Amazon doing all that, but I saw it 4 or 5 years ago since I was working food delivery in Singapore. When we were doing food delivery, it was very clear that every minute of delivery time, so the faster you deliver to the customer, the happier the customer was. So the higher the chances that they returned and the faster they were returning to order, right? So we actually very actively looked at how can we deliver 1 minute faster so the customer is happier, right? That was specifically for food. But then when we did some tests for retail, right, and retail applies more to Amazon, we saw that people that got their items in 4 hours were happier than when they got them in 3 hours, right? So I guess Amazon has seen that over 20 years, right? I guess 20 years ago, they delivered in 10 days and then in
Yeah.
5 and then in 3. And now in the US, I think more than half of their orders are same day.
Yeah.
And that's something that they are pushing all over the globe. Is this an opportunity or a challenge? Well, I think it's both. I think either you do it or you will die at some point, basically, right? I think when you think about people talk a lot about customer experience, customer experience, customer experience. They do super fancy things in the website and they do nice packaging and so on. But at the end of the day, if you order online, there's the shopping experience and then there's the delivery experience, and all together becomes one. If you have an amazing shopping experience, but it takes 10 days or it doesn't arrive, then the experience is very shitty. So,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
the challenge is that Amazon is doing it amazing, right? And now, if you're a small, medium fleet owner or fleet operator, it's very hard to do it. Without technology, you cannot do same day.
And I think what is also, JJ, just to interrupt there, but what you also mentioned is that now they're raising the bar, so customers are going to get used to it. They don't want their parcel. They don't want to wait for 3 days anymore. All of a sudden, they've changed the game completely, and customers are going to want their delivery within the same day or next day. I mean, how is that going to shape the whole space, the whole landscape, how we are operating?
As you say, it's very simple, right? If I get a package from Amazon in one day or same day, and then I go order from Nike, and then it takes 3 days, I'm not gonna be happy with that, right? I'm getting used to the one day, right? So I think how it's gonna shape it is that Amazon is gonna keep taking market share until some logistics providers get up to speed and allow retailers and brands to power same day delivery, right? And there will be a turning point, which I think it already started, right? Especially in developed markets, you see a lot these fleets that focus on key big cities and offer same-day delivery, right? And these guys are trying to partner with retailers. So I think Amazon started the movement, but now some fleets are following. Most likely in 10 years, everyone will be actively doing same day for the last mile. Some will not be able to. I think many will die along the way, and some new tech-enabled fleets will arise. I think I say tech-enabled because I think without the tech, you really cannot do same-day delivery, right? You don't have the speed to do it. You need technology to automate the creation of routes, the auto assignment to drivers. It's a different technology than what they were using till now.
How do you think AI is going to fit into all of that? Because there are still some of your more conservative companies, logistic companies, who are not really open to expanding, exploring the AI route. Do you think that that's going to shape this industry. If you're not actually implementing AI, new state of the art tech, you're going to fall behind.
So I've been thinking a lot about that in the last year since the whole boom in AI started. I'm not so, let's say, greedy. I'm not so greedy about it because when you think about logistics, the main advances on AI in the last year have been around generational AI, conversational content creation, and so on. For logistics, it was more machine learning being applied in the last already 10 years to create routes. So that's already existing. It will improve a bit, but I don't think it's going to be a crazy change because of that. So I think in logistics, it's more about automation, about assigning orders, about creating routes. That can be done with AI, but that can be done in other ways, right? So I think it's not so much about AI, but about, hey, how can I leverage existing technology to automate stuff?
So, for businesses listening to this conversation now, what advice do you have for them to stay competitive and not fall behind? It's so difficult, especially if you don't have the funding, and you don't have the team. What can people do? What can businesses do to have that competitive edge? To their rivals.
Yeah, so thinking from the retailer point of view, because they are the ones who are interested in offering same day, I think it's very simple. Either you build your own fleet to offer same day delivery, which is very challenging and potentially I wouldn't start that way, or I find a same day delivery provider. I think nowadays you can already find same day delivery couriers in most cities worldwide, at least in the major cities. So I would really try to find someone like this. What can happen is that these guys are not hyper mega developed, they don't provide all the tracking that the customer wants and so on. So then there is software solutions like Kosmo, for example, that can allow you to offer that amazing experience, like same as DoorDash or Uber or Amazon would provide to the end customer, right? So one, find the same delivery courier, unless you want to build it yourself in house, and two, ensure they have state of the art technology to provide real time updates to the final customer.
Tell me, from a personal point of view, a CEO point of view, I mean, there are so many things that can go wrong in the last mile delivery process. But how do you navigate those hurdles? Especially just maybe, staying ahead of the competitor. It's a tough business, things happen very fast. What do you do? What's your personal motto to keep ahead in the game?
So I think if I'm thinking from an operator point of view, um, it's super challenging, right? Because you need to ensure you have enough drivers. Every country has complex regulations. There's competition. The customer wants to pay low, right? So it's thin margins. So the only way you can overcome those hurdles is by getting density, right? It's only when you get volumes as a fleet operator that you can make the business work. So I think all my focus would be about how can I get to this number of deliveries per day, which equals density, so I can survive. Uh, it's very hard to get there without funding or without getting a very big client, but that's the only way. I think if you are planning to start a fleet and you don't have this very clear, I wouldn't even bother. From the software perspective, I think when it comes to Cosmo, I think there's quite some solutions out there in the market, but most of them they still focus on this more old school logistics delivery system. You deliver in 3 days and so on. I think how we are trying to differentiate and overcome all the competition is by being the first ones to drive the same day delivery focus, right? Uh, Same day delivery is a very big change, still nascent, right? I think it's still around 15% of the global, let's say, last mile deliveries only, right? But it's the fastest growing segment. So we are taking and betting very much on that growth, right? And through that, I think we can get big advantage versus competitors.
I know the last question I want to ask you is about personalization. I mean, I read so many blogs about personalizing the customer experience in a world that we are now in, with everything is AI driven. I mean, that personal connection with your customer is super important. And I've noticed that that's something that Cosmo is also really focused on. You want to know, I mean, is there anything that you can improve on? So from that perspective, what is important for you, and what is the customer's response to the technology? I mean, is that really a game changer for some businesses?
I think the key here is the customer needs to be an owner and has to have flexibility about when they they want to deliver the items, right? I can give you an example. I just ordered a bed a couple of weeks ago. Took 9 days to come, and the courier said, "Yeah, we'll deliver on the 8th of May." They didn't give any time frame. So then it was 8th of May. I was most of the day at home working, and then at 3 p.m. I was not at home. I was outside, and then they called. I was not here, so they got very angry because I was not here. I could reschedule it for Monday, and then they told me, "Oh, we can come deliver between 9 and 2 p.m." 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. So I stayed home till 2 p.m. They didn't come. I left home. And then at 3, he called again. "Oh, you're not home." "Yeah, you said 9 to 2 p.m., right?" So I think that's the perfect example. I think you need to allow the customers to select a 1 hour slot, right? And if the customer decides to change their mind, they can have a tracking page where they can say, "Sorry, but I actually cannot be here between 12 and 1 p.m. I want to reshuffle it to tomorrow or to this afternoon," right? And that should connect to your dispatching system, your TMS, and update the route for the driver, right? So we're going very deep into that because I think that's what makes the customer happy, right? And I think retailers need to be aware of that to push their fleet operators or couriers to be able to provide that service.
Well, thank you so much, JJ, for your insight. It was lovely chatting to you and to catch up about the latest in the news in our industry. Till next time, thank you.
Thanks for having me. Bye.